Okay, let's continue this game. So, white played knight a4 here. So probably he wanted to discourage c5 from happening. If black played c5 here, white takes, you take on c5 and then you escape to, let's say, d2 or whatever the place might be. So Gukesh plays rook c7 and now knight d3, strengthening this, not allowing c5. So queen d8. Queen d8. Aha, so the point is to go move the knight f6 and then g5. And then include the rook on the 7th rank. So rook c1, knight d5, a3, and now f6. Queen d2 and g5. Aha, so he gives up this one. Queen e8. So now he's a pawn down. How do you handle that? I guess he was too afraid of this, allowing rook h7, and it's understandable. So rook g7 here, queen e2, and he's always gonna meet the gf with e4 and maybe even e5, but I think it's enough that this bishop is blocked from the action on the king side, so he can just go rook g2 and rook cg1 and be okay. So Gukesh just keeps the tension as much as possible. Rook c1, bishop b8. And now I just play some moves like this one, but... Aha, so it's time to move this back. g4, and now queen h5 comes next. Maybe now the best move was knight bc1 to keep an eye on the g3 push. But I guess he can unpin and then go g3, which still brings him in a tough spot. But maybe this time knight e2, knight g3 could work out. Although there's this. f2 hangs. But still, white is alive, I would say. It's not brilliant or anything, but I would like to get here. And let's say on this to go rook g2, and I don't think you can go here because of knight g3 and rook f1. That queen would be trapped, but there's bishop f4, isn't it? Oh god. That's embarrassing. Bishop f4 and I lose this pawn. Once you take on g3, you're able to extract your piece. So I guess that's not the best. Wait a second. Well, maybe just rook goes here. Oops. Here and knight g3. And keep this queen a bit busy on h3. It feels a bit awkward. I mean, you can go maybe f5 here. But then I could maybe focus on the c file, rook c6, and get enough play. This doesn't feel so bad as it was in the game. In the game, white allowed g3 to be played, which didn't feel like the right thing to allow. I mean, first of all, let's see if you can go something like h3. I don't think you do, because there's some bishop e4 stuff, I suppose. Bishop e4 stuff with queen h3 coming next. So if you take, there's checkmate. And if you go f3, there's still gonna be bishop takes. And you still cannot capture because of the same stunning threat. So I guess you gotta take on g3, but this doesn't help rook g3. And you gotta be careful about rook g2 and bishop e4 kind of motives. Although they're not the only one. Stefansson plays e4, but now comes rook g4. So what's the point? You want to go rook h4. So if you take it, then what? Rook h4, and the bishop can't move. If it moves to f1, what will happen in that case? Wait a second, let me think here. Let me think. Will he take on d3 maybe? And then take on f4 and target h2. Will he do that? Interesting. Yeah, that is the big point. If you take d3 hangs, so after rook g4, queen e2 was played by white, and now knight takes f4. Now black is not even a pawn down, so it's a hellish position. And now bishop f3 is played, but what do? He wants to go queen h2 next. So let's say you play a random move. He's gonna go queen h2 and deliver checkmate after bishop h3. Give a checkmate like this. So white had to do something to cover the second rank, and this was one of the, well, not one, this was the only way. Bishop f3, but now there's this nice tactic, rook f3, because on queen takes, he's gonna have rook g1, and on rook g1, queen takes queen. And this is where black won the game, white resigned. So where did white go wrong? Well, I'm not entirely sure. I think in this moment it was still not too late to save the game. I think knight bc1 was a good way to continue. The fight, the struggle, however you like to say it. But already it feels a little shaky. Maybe you can do this, but as I spoke, knight to e2 looks quite nice. Oh, but wait, maybe... Yeah, we talked about bishop to d3 and queen f2. But black would return the pawn. He wouldn't get a pawn. He would just return it back. So maybe this one would kinda save the whole thing, like rook f1, here knight g3, and once you close down the g file, once you disable black from using these rooks efficiently, then you can have time for rook c1, rook c6, and target some of his pawns on the other side. I believe this was a good way to continue, although I'm not sure if I missed something here, like if I missed some nice way to stop 92. Oh, what could I miss? Maybe there's some c5 type of move, but it doesn't seem that dangerous. But I'm gonna check it out. I think I'm gonna just check this with the engine and go. So let's start from the beginning. So the first moment was this one where I was checking c5, if it can be played. Aha, so you can take on c5, not on d5 first. And I was worried about d6. But actually this is... wow. I thought this was much worse for black, but he's actually slightly better by the engine. So what, rook d1, and what do you do, knight c6? Aha, on bishop c3 I guess there's bishop c5, and he's holding it. Ah, there's rook c8, didn't see that. And now I'm pinned as well. Oh, this is actually diabolical. Queen a4, there's dc probably, yeah. And then rook d8, cb2. Promote without any disturbance. So on c5 you go dc5 first. If he takes, you take on d5, and on this knight e1. Oh. Wow, that's so bad. Wait, queen d6, knight d3. So you're not allowing the bishop to get back to b6 because of bishop b4. So you have to do this. Wow, this says plus 3.7, which is way too much. Oh, there's no option of b6, that's why. And now taking twice on c5, I guess, doesn't work because rook d1 check pins the first rank, so this one. Yeah, this is clearly better, knight d6, and you're gonna collect some pawns. And black is, in general, so passive. But yeah, that was why c5 didn't work. c6, rook d1, what was the next moment? Yeah, this one... Yeah, this also works. Bishop b1 and b4 next. Also on this one, I was wondering if this works or not. I guess not so well. Queen c8 is there, yeah. I was only looking at rook c8, which might be a problem, but bishop c4. Oh. b3 and then g5. Of course there's something. Yeah. b5. Unexpected. Deflection. Okay, so black plays a5 here. And on this I wanted to check b5, but apparently it's bad because of c5. I guess the difference would be that if knight was on c3, well, first of all, b5 would be impossible, but at least b4 would be possible from black's side. So it would be tougher to employ this bishop without any severe damage on the queen side. Because now something like b4 can be met by breaking move like a3. And the b pawn would be quite tough to defend. But alright, knight to c3 was played. dc. Knight d2, and now I was wondering about this move. And the engine says knight, this move was the best. But wait, how is this? Can I take this, or is it bad because of e5 and knight e4? Oh, that's what I missed. No? Knight f3, queen c5. Wait, what's up with this? Knight f d5, and on this... there's knight b4 and knight d3. That's how he survives. Okay. So you go here, queen c5 only move, and bishop e3, queen h5 only move. And then you take on b6. Silly me. Or if you go to b4, there's gonna be a3 forcing the queen trade, after which white takes on b6. Yeah, I didn't look deep enough here. But anyways, yeah, if e4 works, if e4 isn't punished by queen d4, then I get what's the big deal about it. So knight d5 by Gukesh. We had this. And now I didn't really pay too much attention to these moves. They seem natural. Rook g1, bishop, rook c8, rook d1, bishop d6. And now, yeah, knight a4. So on c5, if he played c5, there was a way to disturb black by doing this. If he tries this, then white can maybe repeat moves. And if he goes here, knight bc4 would be a nice way to force the bishop back and get this one to e5 maybe. So black would have a decent kind of play. But he chose this. Knight d3, queen d8. Rook to c1, knight d5, a3. And now g5. This was a very interesting moment to give the pawn like this. Bishop g6, queen d2, queen e8, knight ac5. What's up with this? Aha, fg was critical, not hg. Aha, if you go here, I take on d3. And there's this with capture on h3. That's horrendous. So knight ac5, rook g7. Like a machine. Rook c1, bishop b8. And now he's freeing the h5 square for the queen. When black pushes g4, h5 is available. So he goes here, b6. And now g4 comes. And yeah, knight bc1. Knight bc1. It's important to keep this queen on the same diagonal as the queen, so g3 doesn't come. And queen h4, knight e2. And in case you take... Aha, knight g3 works immediately. Wait, what's happening? Oh, bishop d5. And the queen gets stuck. Wait, is there... No. But yeah, you can take on b6 and pawns are so vulnerable. It says +3 for white. So yeah, bishop d3 I didn't really see. But wait, there was this line, which is quite nice. And now bishop c3. Yeah, that's too deep. And now black has this move, which is quite nice. But still doesn't really do much harm because now black has to exchange the queens somehow. Either by doing this, which leads to a drawing endgame, since white will be forced to... will force black to push e5, and that's gonna be much easier to hold because now the pawns are easily blockaded by the bishop. And then you just exchange here 2 for 1, block with the king and bishop, and hold the position. But yeah, that was a crazy line. Queen d2 allowed g3, and it's already lost according to engine. e4, and now this move is quite strong. Queen e2, and now f4 hangs. And that was it. I'm gonna go now. I'm sorry for making it short, but I hope to continue either tomorrow or maybe today in the evening with analyzing more games, like against Maksudlu or who else? Caruana, Fedoseev, something like that. You can check out my analysis in his game against Suleimanli. This is my newest video, so check it out. I'll see you very soon, I hope. Bye.